it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, August 28th. So today we will see the moon in Capricorn go void, of course, and we will be entering into Aquarian energy. Now, here's the thing. We move into the Aquarian energy at around 10:30 a.m. The moon goes void, of course, around 7:49 a.m. Again, all Eastern Standard Time. The interesting part about this is because anytime we move out of Capricorn energy and into Aquarian energy, first of all, the vibes get lighter because we're moving out of an earth sign, we're moving into an air sign. Even more than that, Aquarian energy is the visionary air sign, the observer type of air sign. Now, the funk, the seriousness, the soberness, the obstacles, the challenges, the restrictions that we have observed while the moon has been in Capricorn energy, the moon in Aquarius is going to attempt to fix, to solve, to free us from, to liberate us from. It's a beautiful vibe. It's a beautiful thing because we think outside of the box with this Aquarian energy. Another reason why I think this is a interesting topic and theme to talk about is the fact that we have Uranus, the Great Awakener, who rules over Aquarian energy, going retrograde today. So it is a very interesting dynamic that we have the moon moving into Aquarius energy and then the ruler of that Aquarian energy deciding to go retrograde. There is an astro forecast on Uranus going retrograde. I am going to encourage that you check it out. If you've downloaded your Virgo season e-guide, you want to flip to this particular astro event, really capture what the energy focus, topics, and themes are for you right now, where Uranus in this Taurus energy is concerned. So on top of that, this is Monday. Mondays are ruled over by the moon. Typically speaking, Mondays are low energy. Feels like we are just dragging ass, like we're running underwater. There is a lot of emotions that are on the lower end of the spectrum. So a little bit more negativity, if you will. Now, with 11 different aspects, 9 of them involving the moon, we should be in for a very intense perspective changing day. Okay, so also let me just throw at you that anxiety, anticipation, nervousness could definitely be high because of the Aquarian energy, because of Uranus going retrograde. I'm going to encourage you to listen to this week's ascension forecast for the highs, the lows, the everything in between on the physical symptoms that you can expect due to the energetic shifts that are taking place this week. Okay, so we're starting the day off with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, who is fresh in this Libran energy that he just does not enjoy being in, making a little bit of a situation, a conflict, if you will, with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings. He is the knowledge that we've accumulated through the tough love life lessons of our lives. Now, Jupiter tends to magnify whatever it is that he's kind of interacting with. He turns the volume all the way up on our thoughts, on our feelings, on our circumstances, on the situations that we're currently going through. And typically speaking, Jupiter is very optimistic. He's very positive. He builds us up. Well, not in this way. What we're getting here is an interaction between these two that's really going to mess with our impulsivity and with our urges. So we have Mars, who is predisposition to take action first and deal with the consequences later, that he can't take action right now because he's stuck in the intellectual battlefield of Libran energy, trying to balance everything out, trying to negotiate and compromise and progress himself through the charm and the wit of the intellectual battle that we are kind of having at this particular point in time. Well, Jupiter's going to exaggerate that. So all of a sudden we have this intensity where we just want to start something new. We just want to take action. We just want to dive in. We just want to make a change. But guess what? We can't. Why is that? Well, first of all, we're not being supported. Second of all, we don't have a plan. Why would we pour so much time, energy, and focus into taking action and making moves without a solid plan? Jupiter is in Taurus energy, a fixed earth sign. This is the lowest, slowest, steadiest, progress that we could possibly make in our physical realms, but a plan and a strategy is absolutely needed. So here we are, we're all hyped up, we're excited for the new, we're excited for the possibilities. Keep in mind, this is the Libran energy, trying to stay in the light and fluffy, airy, bubbly realm of the shallow end of our emotions, when realistically we're masking and hiding what we're really feeling on the inside, which is agitation, which is, I'm going to say, so much enthusiasm to just kind of get the chapters that we've been sitting in closed, done with, just behind us, that enthusiasm can actually turn into anger and frustration pretty freaking easy. Because Jupiter intensifies or exaggerates or magnifies or turns the volume all the way up, we are likely going to have to practice some energy management, some emotional management, because let me tell you, Mars does not enjoy being in this Libran energy. Eventually, we will achieve balance in our emotional realms, but right now, we are in the very beginning stages of this Libran energy that has us experiencing extremes. And when I say to you that the masculine, aggressive warrior type of spirit of Mars being in the feminine, receptive, and fluid energy of Libra, it is not going to be a fun time. Again, please listen to the astro forecast for the greater, grander picture here. So bottom line, let's not be overly dramatic. Let's not overdo it. Let's not overcommit. Let's not overstate our feelings. Let's not lose our shit. Let's not act on impulse. Let's just have some patience. Let's sit our asses down, tap into that beautiful brain, and come up with a plan and a strategy that makes logical and practical sense. Let's start there. If you want to take any kind of action, you want to pour into anything, let it be that. So the moon, still very much in this Capricorn energy, is going to get into the boxing ring, square off, create tension and conflict with the North Node in Aries energy. The North Node in Aries energy is showing us over the next 18 months where it is that we have to be more independent, where it is that we have to be more of thyself. And let me just say here, I've had a little bit of an illumination, if you will, on where some people aren't understanding. Maybe it's the way I say it, or I'm not really sure where this misunderstanding stems from. But the whole point of the North Node being in Aries energy, you've heard me say this is going to be our self-ish era. Okay, well, this doesn't mean that we're not compassionate, we're not empathetic, that we don't care about other people, that we're not going to help other people, and that it's just about me, I. This is about learning who it is that you are without the attachments and influence of other people shaping and molding and conditioning who it is that you have been. When I say selfish era, it is about being your most real and raw and authentic self. And in order for us to really figure out who it is that we are, we have to disconnect and detach to the people around us. We've intertwined our energy. We've intertwined our identity. We've allowed other people's thoughts, opinions, and views have an impact on what it is that we do or don't do for thyself. When I say that we are moving into an 18-month lesson of being self-centered, it means being centered and grounded in who it is that you are. Okay? This isn't about being narcissistic. This isn't about lacking empathy and compassion. This isn't about just railroading other people in order to get what you want. That is egoic in nature. What I am speaking about is understanding who it is that you truly are in your real, raw, authentic source self, and standing very firmly in who it is that you are, pursuing the path that you need to pursue for yourself, for your mission, for your purpose, for your potential, for your soul's potential. So yes, it is going to require us to be a little bit more independent. It is going to require us to kind of stick to ourselves. It is going to require us to have a little bit more freedom from the constructs of being in relationship dynamics that essentially hold us back. I just need to put that clarity out there because a lot of people, I think it's because we're all on different levels of perception and awareness, and a lot of people are still operating from the concepts of the 3D personal earthly realm. And of course, if you take it that way and you're perceiving everything from that level of awareness, then yeah, you would misinterpret what this Aries energy is all about. We're talking from the soul self, okay? The whole astrology thing that I'm talking about here is the evolution of our soul. We use astrology in order to push our soul onto the right path, to reach our soul's mission, reach our soul's purpose, to reach our soul's potential. Anyways, I digress. The interaction between the moon in Capricorn squaring off with the North Node in Aries energy is putting us at a little bit of a cluster F, because the North Node in Aries needs us to break away, needs us to free ourselves, liberate ourselves from whatever it is that have been blocking us, restricting us, holding us back from truly being our real, raw, authentic self, standing in our source power energy and doing what is right by us. The moon in Capricorn is so used to continuously doing things the same old, same old. Their whole motto is tradition, tried, tested, and true. So emotionally speaking, we're like, you know what? We would really like to branch out and try something new, but that seems really scary to do at this particular moment. We would just like to kind of stick to the rivers, the lakes that we're used to, because they're familiar, they're predictable. And although we do need to change, and although we are percolating on the changes that need to be made, we're just not quite ready to bust away from what has been in order to explore what could be. The moon is then going to sextile, beautiful interaction, with Neptune, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy. Again, I love this energy because the Pisces energy opens up our intuition, opens up our imagination, opens us up to new visions, dreams, and insights. And what we're able to do with that is bring it down into the physical body, emotionally speaking, because the Capricorn energy can apply logic and practicality to these wispy visions and dreams, and actually see what it is that we can build in our lives to create a foundation and a platform to bring some of these imaginative fantasy-like dreams, visions, insights, and ideas into our physical realm. So we like this. This is kind of reminding us of what it is that we want to build towards. And of course, right now we're holding on desperately to what once was and what currently is, because we're not quite prepared to go out into new foreign territory and explore what could possibly be. But we're percolating on it, we're sorting through it, we're processing it, we're coming up with some good ideas on how we could implement some of those changes. The moon is going to come up to, bump into, team up with Pluto, the great transformer himself, who is retrograde in this Capricorn energy. They are both in the final degrees of this Capricorn energy, thus their meetup. And therefore, there is going to be a serious, intense, boss up, maturity type of perspective. First of all, any kind of interaction with Pluto, it's always intense. Any kind of positive interaction with Pluto means that we are empowering ourselves, we are bossing up, we are kind of glowing up in a way. And emotionally speaking, we are starting to see where it is that when we operate from a placement of power, we can change, we can pivot, we can transform. Again, Capricorn, cardinal energy. We're going to stick with the same old, and persevere and stay in the exact same spot, doing the exact same thing until we're presented with a situation, a circumstance with information, data, and statistics that would prove that staying in the same old is not smart. Staying in the same old is not productive. All we need are those two things. And the Capricorn energy is like, you know what? You're right. Let's pick up, let's pivot, let's plan, let's make a different approach, let's make a different action plan. So this particular interaction with Pluto is going to create a change and a transformation. First, it starts emotionally. We see where it is now that we cannot continue to do the same old and expect anything to change. And therefore, we are maturing, right? We are bossing up. We are taking control back in a certain sense, and we're understanding where a pivot is absolutely needed. So this is the last aspect that the moon in Capricorn is going to make before going void of course. We go void of course. And while void of course, still very much in this Capricorn energy, the sun and the moon are going to have a very quick but very pleasant interaction. Keep in mind, moon in Capricorn, earth energy, sun in Virgo, Earth energy. What do we get with Earth? Well, what we get with Earth is a realization on the here and now, on the present moment, on what we have control over, on what isn't working, on what we would prefer to have working in a better way. And therefore, a major change and transformation can happen as long as the mind, the body, the soul are all in agreement. The moon in Capricorn representing the traditional past, the old way of doing things, the sun in Virgo energy representing where it is that we can do things differently, where we can work smarter, not harder, but it is going to require us to make some changes in our physical realms, rearrange, reorganize, restructure how it is that we are moving throughout our day. So then 1032, we lock into the moon in Aquarius. 1139, the moon in Aquarius is going to make its very first interaction. It's a trine. It's a beautiful interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, who is now in this Libran energy. We get the trine because Aquarius is in air energy. Libran energy is in air energy. So the Aquarian energy is the great observer. It's the visionary energy. We're able to see the big picture. We're able to see the past, present, and future. We're able to see the interconnection of certain situations and circumstances that we've already lived through, that we're currently going through, that we're going to be living through. And we're able to see where it is that some refinement, some change, some transformation is needed. Again, keep in mind that when the moon is in Capricorn, we're illuminated to the problems. We're illuminated to the areas where we feel blocked and restricted and held back. The moon in Aquarius is going to look at these things from a different set of eyes, a different perspective altogether, and understand where it is that we have the opportunity to think outside of the box, to do things in a different way, and essentially break free from the weight, from the negativity, from the blocks, the restrictions that we've been feeling and that we've realized that we've been feeling while the moon was in Capricorn energy. Okay, so the moon in Aquarius detaches us emotionally, which is a nice change. We need to be emotionally detached so that we can act as the observer and see things as they are and not for the way that we wish that they would be. When you get emotional about something, you're essentially imprinting your own thoughts and opinions on the situation. When you can just observe it with no emotional attachment whatsoever, you're able to see things from a different perspective that you wouldn't have seen if you were emotionally invested in the situation and in the circumstance. So then you have Mars in this Libran energy. We're fresh in it. He doesn't like to be here. He's fighting for balance, but we're sitting in the extremes of that right now. So what we're getting here is a realization on what would require us to take action on first and foremost, especially where conversations are concerned, because Libran energy is about conversations. Where we could have a conversation, where we could negotiate, where we could compromise on some of the roles and responsibilities that we've already identified we're not so happy with, that we've outgrown, that are basically sucking the life force energy out of us. Emotionally speaking, this is giving us a different perspective on where it is that maybe we should initiate the conversation, where it is that maybe we should take action to open up a dialogue to attempt to actually reconcile, heal, fix, resolve some of the issues that have been brought to our attention. This is a good vibe, a good energy. It's inspiring. It's motivating. We're tapping in to a little bit of that aggressive energy from Mars, but of course, we are masking it behind the happy-go-lucky visual of the Libran energy. So we are starting to piece things together. We are starting to see where opportunities for conversation may lead us into a different situation or circumstance, to explore different possibilities that we haven't explored as of yet. Again, the moon in Aquarius here to kind of innovate and progress us on the path that we need to be on, that we're not feeling we're making enough progress or productivity on because of the restrictions and blockages that we should have been illuminated to while the moon was in Capricorn energy. Okay, so the moon in Aquarius goes ahead and interacts with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Pisces energy, in such a way that is going to illuminate a choice point, a decision point. Also, very, very important to mention that we're interacting with a ruler here. Yes, Uranus rules over Aquarian energy, but he's the modern day ruler. Saturn is actually the traditional ruler. And so it's a very interesting dynamic when you consider Saturn's role in Aquarius energy. What we're getting here, first of all, the moon in Aquarius, showing us where it is that the blockages, the challenges, the restrictions are in order for us to come up with a way to free ourselves from them. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who rules over roles and responsibilities, structures, foundations, is retrograde, reflecting back on the Pisces energy, the pain and trauma, the fears, the doubts, the insecurities that are preventing us from aligning with our vision and our dreams, preventing us from being a vibratory match with the visions and the dreams that we're currently wanting to manifest. Now we have to deconstruct the way that we've been believing, the way that we've been thinking, the way that we've been practicing our, I'm going to say, spirituality in this real world realm, because many of us are all about the manifestation, all about the mantras, but yet still lack the discipline to actually deconstruct those inner realm narratives that constantly keep us in a disadvantage from being able to be a vibratory match from the dreams and the visions that we're currently looking to manifest. So this interaction is going to show us options, opportunities, alternatives to break away, to bust away, to break through into building something stronger, something more stable, something more supportive that will help us build the bridge to get us from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. But then the moon in Aquarius goes ahead, interacts with the sun in Virgo in such a way that is going to illuminate a different realm of choice point. It's almost like when we interact with Saturn, it's almost like good choices, good opportunities are illuminated. When we're interacting with the sun in this way, it's almost like the choices and the opportunities are more sufferable. It's almost like illuminating which is the worst case scenario, which is the more evil of evils, if you will. But nonetheless, going to illuminate the struggle, the conflict. And the struggle and the conflict is important because once we identify what it is that we're struggling with, where it is that we feel conflicted, we understand that we really need to kind of pour more time and energy into resolving these particular topics and themes so that we can move on, we can build something different. So the moon, very attached to the past, the sun, very attached to the future, the moon in this Aquarian energy, kind of acting as the observer to see how it is that we made the choices and decisions to actually find ourselves in these current situations with roles, responsibilities, structures, and foundations that we're no longer in alignment with. And the sun shining a bright light in this Virgo energy on where it is that we can rearrange and reorganize some of these choices, some of these decisions, some of these, let's call them realistic structures and foundations that are already alive and well, where it is that we can manipulate them, where it is that we can put them in a different order, where it is that we can restructure them so that we are essentially fixing, healing, and resolving a lot of the blockages, restrictions that we have been facing, banging our head against a wall, if you will. So at 7:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is when Uranus is going to go retrograde. We are going to see the major topics and themes that we will experience in our inner awakening over the next 4.5 to 5 months with Uranus's retrograde. We are going to see those topics and themes be very much in our face, especially within the first week of Uranus being retrograde. Again, I'm going to encourage you to go listen to that astro forecast, get out your Virgo season e-guide if you have them, follow along, take a look at your chart, see where this particular area of energy is going to be in your face the most. The moon in Aquarius energy is going to have a little bit of a tiff, a little bit of an argument, if you will, with Mercury. Mercury is the ruler of the mental plane. He rules over information, communication, and how it is that we express ourselves. He is currently retrograde, looking back in this Virgo energy, taking a good look at our physical realm, what it is that we've built, what it is that we've created, what it is that we're no longer in alignment with, what it is that needs to be reorganized, restructured, rebuilt altogether, where it is that we have to create order among the chaos, where it is that we have to make time for our mind, body, and soul to be balanced out, where it is that we have to make time to take care of ourselves. Okay, so the moon, our heart space, Mercury, our head space, they're not on the same page right now. A lot of this is due to the fact that the Aquarian energy that the moon is in is the big picture, the big vision. It's the observer. It's the bigger perspective. And the Virgo energy that Mercury's currently in is the small little pieces of the puzzle that snaps together to reveal the big picture vision that the Aquarian energy is currently consumed with. So the disconnect here is that emotionally speaking, we're looking at the big picture, when realistically speaking, in order to actually identify the problems and actually resolve them, we have to focus on the smaller decisions, choices, actions taken that actually got us in this circumstance. And so the contrast or the conflict here is because the Aquarian energy is super big, super broad, big picture vision. The Virgo energy that Mercury is in needs us to focus in on the smaller steps that got us here and the smaller steps that we need to take to get us out of here. The last aspect that we have here today is the moon in Aquarius, making a positive interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy. What I love about this is because the moon is in Aquarius, we're emotionally detached. We can see ourselves without being emotionally attached, aggravated, triggered, activated by some of the observations that we're making within thyself. Chiron, the wounded healer, if we were being aspected in a negative way, we would be focused on the wounds. Well, this is a positive interaction, so we're actually focused on the healing part. What we're doing here, because Chiron is retrograde, we are examining the parts within us, especially where our mental health and our mental narratives are concerned, that's preventing us from truly standing in our real, raw, authentic self. We have been going through a rebranding where identity is concerned. That's the Chiron energy. We now retrograde in this Chiron in Aries energy are examining our inner realm of thoughts, of emotions, of narratives. So the moon in Aquarius is providing us with an opportunity to kind of examine the inner workings of our mind, of our programming, of our conditioning, to not only see where the wounds are still alive and well, but to see the energy and effort that we've A, already put into healing said wounds, and B, where it is that we're having a realization now because of this visionary energy on the smaller mechanics, the little cogs of the wheel, the inner workings of our mind that still have a little bit more work to do before we can break away from that old narrative and adopt a new one, a more supportive and encouraging narrative that will actually help us break away from the old, free us, liberate us from those restrictions, from that old narrative, from that old program, from that old conditioning, and really kind of strip away the layers of falsity so that we can stand in our real, raw, authentic power.